You might call this the worst trail in the world, or you might not call this a trail at all. Today we're going to learn a skill that will help you conquer rough spots in the trail. It's an easy technique that you can use at any speed, and you can use it to balance, to reposition your tires, and even to climb up steep sections. My name is Aaron. Welcome to Super Rider. On this channel, we break down complex bike skills into easy to learn techniques so you can quickly apply it to your riding. Today's skill has all kinds of different names. Some people call it an English hop or a two-wheel simultaneous hop. Some people call it a spud hop or a clipless hop, and some people will even tell you this is the wrong way to bunny hop. Regardless of what it's called, the basic thing that's happening is that both tires are coming off the ground at the same time. It's an easy way to pop the bike up, and with just a little control, you can use this movement to rebalance and reposition yourself on the bike. In fact, the English hop technique might be one of the most versatile skills that you can have on a bike. There are so many different ways to apply it to your riding. So today we're going to learn both stationary and rolling versions of this skill, and I've got a bunch of different drills that we can also practice to fully lock it in. So with that, let's get started. This spot is called High Rocks Park, and it's the perfect place to demonstrate all the different ways that we can use this technique. I'm not sure if there's a flat section to be found here, but that's fine. You always hear me say that practice makes progress, and what I mean by that is that repetition helps us build muscle memory. Once you've got that in place, things get easier and more efficient. So what better place to get some repetition with our English hops than here? I managed to get my hands on a drone recently too, so today I'm going to try to use it to film some of the lines here at High Rocks. We'll go back and forth between learning the technique of the English hop and putting it to use on some of the rocks here. Before we dig into the basic technique, let me show you how we can use this technique to ride over an incredibly difficult line of rocks. I know that most of the time you'd encounter a single rock or a log on the trail, but since we're here, let's just send it. The English hop is a basic hop on your mountain bike where both wheels come off the ground at the same time. Unlike a bunny hop where you lift the front wheel first and then the back wheel. Each has its own use, but today we're going to focus in on the hop. The best way to get started is with a rolling hop. Cruise along slow on flat ground, crouch into the bike, and then pop up and bring the bike with you. You can actually use your suspension to give you a little boost here if you need a little extra assistance to get the bike moving. If you're riding with clipless pedals, this hop is probably something that you've already used before. But if you're riding flat pedals, you might be struggling to bring your back wheel off the ground. If that's the case, try pointing your toes at the ground and then do a little backward scoop with your foot when you pop up. Angling your foot like that will help you lock the pedal into your shoes, and the scoop guides the back wheel up with the rest of the bike. You could practice just the back wheel scoop while you roll along too. This will totally lock it in. So let's start with a rolling hop on flat ground, and then let's try to get 2 in a row. Once you start getting a feel for it, you can probably hop a bunch of times in a row as you roll along. This is the kind of repetition that we want to get going. Next, try to slow to a stop and do the same thing. Only this time, you're going to see how many hops you can get in a row before you have to start rolling again. One thing to think about is how you reset your body and balance the bike with each hop. So instead of thinking about the hop movement, think about landing in full control and how this could be helping you balance. The smaller you hop, the easier it is to stay balanced. I like to play a little game whenever I'm practicing this kind of stuff, just to see how many times in a row I can hop. Set a record for yourself and then try to break it. Now that we have the basics in place, let's see how we can apply it to our riding. There are a variety of different ways that we can utilize the English hop technique to direct our bike in the way that we want it to go. We can hop forward using the English hop. We can hop side to side to better our balance in place. We can hop completely sideways to line up better with an obstacle or a line that we want to ride. We can actually use it to hop off of obstacles sideways as well. And of course we can use it to turn around. I'm going to demonstrate each one of these skills for you, but just know that it's the exact same thing that we're doing at its core, that basic movement of lifting our wheels off the ground and putting them back down. You can also use this same technique to hop up things. And if you've watched any other videos on this channel, you know that one of my favorite things to ride on when I'm not riding on the trail are staircases. If you want to practice the English hop on staircases, one thing to make it just a little bit easier is to put your front wheel a step or two higher than your back wheel. That will make this English hop a little bit easier to accomplish. Let's head back to High Rocks Park. I'll show you another example of what this looks like in context. Now that you've seen this technique in action, let's go into exactly how we move the bike using a hop. After you've mastered the basic hop, you can start to move around with it a bit more. Try to hop to the right and to the left, keeping in mind that we're continuing to use the hop to maintain our balance. Once you can hop side to side, maybe test out and see if you can hop forward and back. I find that the easiest way to move the bike is to push my body in that direction right before I hop, and then I bring the bike back underneath me to land where I want. Another great thing to test out is hopping up a small hill. It's the exact same technique we used to move the bike a little bit, just applied now to a different angled surface. This is probably the thing you'll end up using the most on the trail. It's super helpful. Now that you've got the movement figured out, I'm going to give you 3 different drills you can practice. First is the inchworm drill. Make a line on the ground and slowly hop forward and over that line. Start with small hops and then work your way up to bigger and bigger hops as it becomes more comfortable. Next is the side-to-side hop. With that same line, hop over and back on the line. Keep in mind the point we made about using the hop to balance ourselves. My body is typically right over the line during this drill, and I let the bike bounce back and forth between each side. The last drill is a real challenge. It's called the ABCs. In this drill, think about using your bottom bracket like a marker, and we're going to trace out the letters A, B, and C by hopping in that shape. If you want to challenge yourself even further, go ahead and do the entire alphabet. My best advice for working on this technique is to just focus on the core motion of the hop before you start worrying about distances at all. You'll want to get to a point where you feel like you can hop almost indefinitely without getting super tired. And then once your muscle memory is in place, getting distance gets a lot easier. The other skill that will benefit tremendously from you learning this technique is the track stand. If you're still working on learning to balance your bike in place, go check out this video right here and you'll see how they all tie together.